Hi friends, happy Friday. Welcome back to our mini lesson for today. Today we're going to continue reading our book, The Life Cycle of a Frog, and talk about the sequence of the frog's life. So our two learning targets today as readers say, I can identify what it means to sequence, and I can sequence the events of a text. So let's sing our sequencing song to help us remember what it means to sequence. Sequencing, sequencing is putting things in order, putting things in order. First, next, then last, first, next, then last. Sequencing, sequencing. So when we sequence, that means we're putting something in order. So the life cycle of a frog shows us how to do that, right? We've seen examples in our book from yesterday of other animals' life cycles. Just a quick little example at the beginning of our book of the penguin, cat, and then our frog. But we also read in the first two chapters about the beginning life cycle of a frog. So we learned that they start out as what? Little eggs, and then they grow into a tadpole after how long? 1 week. And after they're tadpoles, they turn into froglets. They start to grow little legs. Their back legs grow first and then their front legs. And they start to lose their tail and then they turn into adult frogs. So we don't have to go back and read all that information in our chapter book because our table of contents tells us that the next chapter, chapter 3, is on page 10. And we already know that information that comes before this. So we don't have to read it in order like a story if we want to pick up where we left off. So this says, what can an adult frog do? An adult frog can breathe air through its skin and through its lungs. We have an organ in our body, organs, called lungs that help us to breathe. The frog can breathe both through skin and through its lungs, so that means it can live in the water and on land. An adult frog has strong back legs. A frog uses its strong legs to hop or jump. Do you have strong legs? Can you hop like a frog? I bet so. This says animal fact. Adult frogs use their lungs to breathe on land. Underwater, frogs breathe through their skin. The caption down here that's pointing to our picture says an adult frog can live in and out of the water. And this caption down here says frogs use their powerful legs to help them hunt for food. So this is what makes them strong and able to look for what their food is. What do frogs like to eat? Flies, we know, right? All right. So this is still part of chapter 3, and I know that because it's labeled up here at the top, and I'm on pages 12 and 13. It says, each year, some adult frogs lay more eggs. New tadpoles hatch from these eggs. The new tadpoles will change and grow. Many tadpoles will become adult frogs. Then some adult frogs will lay many eggs and probably live for several years before they die. So this is the cycle that it's explaining to you, from egg to tadpole to adult frog. Then after some years, then it dies, but it lays eggs before it dies, and that's how more frogs grow. So our conclusion says a frog is an animal. A conclusion is summarizing what we just learned. A frog is an animal, and a frog has a life cycle. And each picture right here shows us the different parts of the life cycle we learned. So it says eggs, the beginning of frogs, and they're laid in water. Tadpole, the tadpole lives in the water, has gills, no legs, and a tail. And then the adult frog lives on land or where? In water. It has lungs, strong legs, no tail, and lays eggs. So can a tadpole lay eggs? No, only the adult frog. Very good. And this last page of our book has our glossary, those words that we talked about that are those important words. It also tells us what page those are on in the index part at the bottom. And then it gives us some facts, frog facts. How big is the biggest frog, it says? The Goliath frog is more than a foot long and can weigh more than 7 pounds. Wow. It's a big frog. How small is the smallest frog? Look at this frog. Look how tiny it is. One of the smallest frogs is between 33 and 57 milliliters, but it has a huge name, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But look how tiny it is on a quarter. This is a quarter. Down here it says, what are some differences between frogs and toads? Well, toads are frogs. Frogs have smooth, slimy skin and long legs, but toads have bumpy, dry skin and short legs. What is the farthest a frog has jumped? The record is more than 21 feet in a single jump. That is pretty far. Very good. So we just read the life cycle of a frog to help us sequence the events. And we did that learning about what happens at the beginning of their life, the middle, and the end. So kiss your brains as readers. Sequencing is something that helps us keep our information organized in our brain. We're going to continue working on that. And next week, we will practice our readers' theater, reading fluently together. So great job this week, friends. I will see you next week for your mini lesson.